In the high-stakes world of Formula One, drivers aren't just battling milliseconds and engine temperatures, they're battling each other. And when it comes to intimidation, there's one man who doesn't just knock on the door of his rivals' minds, he kicks it down, lights a fire, and then probably charges them rent. Max Verstappen. While you might hear a lot about his raw speed, incredible consistency, or championship dominance, the real reason every other driver secretly, or not so secretly, fears Max.
I don't want to be sandwiched. That's the only.
You don't know what about Kimmy?
No, I don't want to be hit.
Max isn't just because he's fast, it's because he's chaos incarnate, the loose cannon who takes impossible risks, always lands perfectly, and somehow it just works, making him every driver's secret fear. He's the F1 pinball wizard, bouncing off the walls of expectation, bending physics to his will, and leaving rivals wondering if they just witnessed an overtake or a magic trick. This isn't just driving, it's an art form of calculated mayhem. He doesn't just race you, he unsettles you, outmaneuvers your strategy with sheer audacity, and laughs in the face of conventional wisdom. It's a relentless, unpredictable onslaught that makes the cockpit feel a lot smaller when he's in your mirrors. So grab your stress ball, maybe a slightly stronger beverage, because today we're diving into the glorious, terrifying and utterly unpredictable world of why Max Verstappen is genuinely feared by every single F1 driver. It's not just about winning, it's about how he wins and the sheer nerve of the man behind the wheel. The early days. Unleashing the unpredictable prodigy. To understand the fear, we have to go back to where it all began. 2015. A fresh-faced, barely of drinking age Max Verstappen rocks up to F1. He didn't just join the grid, he essentially crashed the party.
Side of Blanchimont, is there enough room to go around the outside? No, because he gets onto the curb.
Bringing a flamethrower to a tea party, and then acted genuinely surprised when everyone looked shocked. Most rookies spend their first year learning, quietly accumulating experience. Max spent his first year being Max. He was audacious, impatient, and utterly thrilling. The paddock immediately knew this wasn't just another talented youngster. This was something entirely different. He was the kid who learned to drive on a playground, using the swings as apexes and the slide as a DRS zone. His rapid ascent was shocking. Within a year, he was promoted from Toro Rosso to the senior Red Bull team, swapping seats with a fully fledged F1 driver. That kind of ruthless instant upgrade only happens when a team sees something so extraordinary, so potentially game-changing that they can't afford to wait. And what did he do in his very first race for Red Bull at the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix? Oh, he won it.
27 days old, Max Verstappen wins a Formula One Grand Prix. Yes, yes!
Became the youngest ever F1 race winner. At 18 years old, in his debut for a top team. Talk about making an entrance. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. A statement that screamed, "I don't care about your polite cues, I'm taking the trophy." But it wasn't just the wins, it was how he drove. Take Brazil 2016, wet race, chaotic conditions. Most drivers are tiptoeing, trying to keep it on track.
That's a terrifying place to be. Yeah. You've got a terrifying position.
Max was going sideways at full speed, finding grip where physics said there was none. And carving through the field with overtakes so daring they made seasoned veterans gasp.
The opportunity down the inside. Do they make contact? Sebastian Vettel yields and goes on.
He was on slicks in a monsoon at one point, almost spinning, catching it and continuing as if it was Tuesday. It was like watching someone navigate a minefield on a unicycle. Utterly terrifying, yet mesmerising. Max introduced a new level of aggression, a willingness to put his car in places that previously only existed in fever dreams. And that willingness to gamble, to dance on the edge of disaster and usually come out smelling like roses, immediately put fear into the hearts of his competitors. They knew then that the old rules of engagement might no longer apply. The art of the impossible overtake, bending physics and breaking minds. If Max's early days were about announcing his arrival, his signature move has been perfecting the impossible overtake. This isn't just an overtake, it's an F1 magic trick.
Okay.
Other drivers plan overtakes. Max just thinks really hard and then wills his car through solid objects. He creates space where there is none, uses lines nobody else sees, and puts his car in positions that make rivals gasp and probably check their rearview mirrors for phantom orange cars for weeks afterward. Consider his masterpieces. At Silverstone, he's a demon, diving into non-existent gaps, squeezing rivals and emerging ahead. Max commits fully, knowing the outcome is either a successful pass or expensive carbon fibre confetti.
Through this part of the track.
He doesn't just pass, he forces the issue, leaving rivals with a single terrifying choice: wreck or be passed. They almost always choose the latter. Then there's Austria 2019, chasing down Charles Leclerc for the win. Max launched himself down the inside of turn 3, a move that looked desperate, but his commitment was absolute. He powered through, pushing Leclerc wide and muscling his way to victory. It was raw, it was aggressive, and it set the tone for future wheel-to-wheel battles. Fast forward to Jeddah 2021, arguably one of the most chaotic races in recent memory. Battling Lewis Hamilton, Max pulled off a ludicrously late braking move.
And they've collided! Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, how much damage?
Almost sailing wide, but somehow he made it stick. It was a testament to his car control on the very edge of grip, and the rival knew that any move against Max would be met with an equally insane counter-move.
He just brake tested me though, so I didn't know what's going on.
And who could forget Brazil 2021, again against Hamilton? After falling behind, Max didn't just regain the position. He did it with a brave outside pass into turn 4, holding his line with incredible strength and forcing his way back ahead. It showed his resilience, his unwavering belief, and his willingness to go for the unconventional when the pressure was at its absolute peak. He thrives in conditions that rattle other drivers, like the rain or low grip. While others are searching for grip, Max is finding new, unexplored dimensions to drive on. His moves often look like chaos, but they're executed with a clinical, terrifying precision. He's not actually a loose cannon. He's a very precisely aimed cannon, fired by a mad genius who sees angles others don't. This commitment, this willingness to go for moves that are so on the edge they make your teeth ache, is what sets him apart. It's what makes rivals hesitate for that crucial millisecond, that tiny sliver of doubt, which is all Max needs. He doesn't just pass you, he makes you feel passed. The Unwritten Rules, Max's personal rulebook. Part of the deep-seated fear Max inspires comes from his unapologetic approach to racing etiquette.
Stuff, and this is not professional.
Mate, we all have no grip. You all need to leave a little bit of space.
You see, F1 has its official rulebook, written in dense legalese by the FIA, but it also has an unwritten rulebook, a gentleman's agreement among drivers about fair play, respecting space, and not doing anything truly bonkers. Max Verstappen. He doesn't just interpret that unwritten rulebook, he uses it as a napkin for his victory snack. His no quarter given mentality in wheel-to-wheel battles means you know he's coming, and he's not backing out. He'll push to the very edge of what's legal, and sometimes, well, a millimetre or two beyond, knowing he'll often get away with it. Take his infamous moving under braking controversy from a few years back. He'd defend his position by moving late, just as a pursuing car was committing to an overtake under heavy braking. It's terrifying because it's incredibly dangerous and makes the car behind him vulnerable. Other drivers complained bitterly, saying it was unsafe and against the spirit of racing. Max's response? Essentially, if you don't like it, you can stop or get better. He held his ground, forced the FIA to clarify the rules, and essentially said, adapt or get left behind. It's not just racecraft either. Even in qualifying, where there's an unwritten code about respecting space on outlaps and cool-down laps, Max has charted his own course. Remember China 2019 qualifying? Max found himself at the back of a train of cars, trying to get a final hot lap in, and several drivers passed him as they ran out of time.
He's just trying to be nice, but everybody just it up.
Max was furious, claiming they broke an unwritten rule that drivers stay behind each other in the final sector. Other drivers, like Hamilton, publicly disagreed. Max believes there's an unwritten rule that everyone should just line up perfectly for his hot lap. The other drivers' response? A collective shrug and a read the actual rulebook, mate. He's like that kid in Mario Kart who thinks the other players should just pull over and let him have the star. Then there's his particular interpretation of the one-move rule. While the FIA states drivers are allowed one defensive move to block a rival, Max often makes that one move so aggressive and late that it becomes a borderline two moves, or simply pushes the other driver to the absolute limit, forcing them onto the dirt or into evasive action. It might not be illegal, but it's certainly not gentlemanly. His one move is essentially a legal intimidation tactic, translated from Dutch as "get out of my way, I'm coming through." And finally, there's the underlying psychological stance, the "if we collide, it's your fault" aura. Max drives with an implicit understanding that if there's contact, the other driver is primarily responsible for avoiding it. This isn't a written rule, but a psychological stance that forces rivals to yield. He assumes the right of way, even when it's debatable. Every time he squeezes a rival to the very edge or holds his line stubbornly in a tight battle, there's an unspoken threat. I'm not backing out, you are. This unwavering commitment to his line, coupled with his willingness to risk contact, often leaves the other driver with no choice but to concede, knowing that Max isn't going to blink. This refusal to adhere to the unwritten code, his sheer bloody-mindedness, is incredibly unsettling for his rivals. They know he won't give them an inch, even if it means putting both cars at risk. It's a psychological game as much as a driving one. He's the kid who never learned to share, and frankly, he's doing pretty well out of it. He doesn't just defend a position, he makes it clear that challenging him is going to be incredibly painful, potentially expensive, and probably fruitless. This isn't just aggression, it's a strategic weapon. The aftermath. Living rent-free in rivals' heads. The fear isn't just in the moment of an audacious overtake or a brutal defensive move. It's the lasting psychological impact. Max Verstappen doesn't just win races, he lives rent-free in his rivals' heads, collecting mental real estate with every daring move. When a rival sees a speck of orange in their mirror, they start sweating because they know it's not just a car. It's a very fast, very determined headache coming their way. They know they have to anticipate the impossible, be prepared for the unexpected, and decide in a split second whether to yield or risk a shunt. This forced overthinking, this constant state of high alert, is exhausting. And here's where his specific brand of genius really ratchets up the fear. It's not just that he's fast, it's that he's relentlessly fast, often when others can't be. He applies a constant, suffocating pressure, lap after lap, forcing rivals to push beyond their own limits. They're already on edge from his unpredictability, and then he just keeps turning the screw, knowing they'll eventually make a mistake. He's like that annoying sibling who keeps poking you until you snap, but with 1,000 horsepower. What's truly terrifying is his ability to master chaotic situations and turn them into gold. While other drivers might struggle with tyre degradation after pushing hard, Max somehow manages to extract brutal pace and make his tyres last. He's either a tyre whisperer or has a secret tyre revitalisation button hidden in the cockpit. Even when his car isn't perfectly balanced or has minor damage, he still finds a way to be devastatingly quick, defying conventional wisdom. His car could be held together with duct tape and a prayer, and he'd still be eyeing your P1. Then there are his miraculous recoveries from near disasters. We've seen him save slides that looked like certain spins, catch moments of oversteer that would send others into the barriers, and generally possess an uncanny knack for making everything look intentional, even when he's been on the very brink. This reinforces the core belief: he always lands perfectly. He has more get-out-of-jail-free cards than a Monopoly set, and he knows how to use every single one of them. You can see all this manifest in how other drivers react to him on track. There's often a fraction more space given, a slightly earlier lift, a recognition that pushing too hard against him often ends badly for them. After a tough wheel-to-wheel battle, you rarely hear Max complaining about his opponent. It's usually the other way around. His calm, almost indifferent demeanour after a controversial moment or an intense battle only adds to the intimidation. He doesn't need to brag. His lap times and the haunted look in his rival's eyes do all the talking. He's a confidence vampire. He doesn't just win, he drains your mental energy like a phone battery on a cold day. While you're trying to figure out his strategy, he's probably already smiling because he knows yours, and he's just about to execute a move you haven't even conceived of yet. This mental fortitude, this unwavering self-belief, combined with his on-track ferocity and his uncanny car control, makes him a truly terrifying proposition. He forces rivals to second-guess themselves, to drive outside their comfort zone, and that's a dangerous place to be in F1. He's not just conquering the track, he's conquering their minds. There's the real, terrifying truth behind Max Verstappen's dominance. It's not just about precision, it's about the chaos he invites, cultivates, and then somehow miraculously controls. He's the ultimate paradox. The loose cannon who always lands perfectly. The unpredictable force who's devastatingly consistent. This unique brand of badass is precisely why he is so utterly feared by every single F1 driver on the grid. He doesn't just out-qualify them or out-race them. He out-dares them, out-thinks them, and ultimately out-intimidates them. He's changed the game, forced rivals to adapt, and continues to push the boundaries of what's considered possible in a Formula One car. And whether you love it or you hate it, you absolutely cannot deny the electrifying impact of the man who thrives in the eye of his own storm. What's the Max Verstappen move that scared you the most? Do you agree he's the most feared driver on the grid? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the mind of a racing monster, hit that like button, leave a comment and subscribe so you don't miss our next pit stop.